was looking on eBay, oh, about 3 weeks ago, um, because what I got is a computer. Well, I have a few computers that have screens that are cracked, um, and then the cracks weren't done. The cracks to the screens of the laptop computers weren't done by somebody else. They were done by me. Just being a typical, I'm pretty rough with the with stuff. So I cracked one, I think by sitting on it by accident, and another one I cracked by dropping it. I don't know exactly how I did all the cracking. And then there's one that was cracked um, because or it was not cracked, but it was the whole screen was screwed up by the dogs pissing on the pissing on it, and so they screwed up the signal that was sent from the laptop to the monitor. So that was weird. But what you can do, what I did was I got a 15 pin cable, and I hooked it up to my laptop, and then the other end of that 15 pin cable, then I hooked up uh, to a monitor that we had, and in some instances it worked, in some instances it didn't. And this right here, this computer, is an example of where it didn't work. And the reason why it didn't work is it used to work. I used to be able to hook up the 15 pin on the side of your laptop a is a little area on the top left side sometimes, or it's on the left side usually, and it's got 15 little holes, and with that you plug in this cable into those 15 little holes, and then the other end of that cable you plug into your TV or a monitor. Some of the new TVs have capability to hook up to a 15 pin cable extension from the computer. Some that are older don't. But um, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. What 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 the thing was is the computer that I'm showing here, that I'm taking out the hard drive from. Uh, it used to be able to hook up to the monitor, to the TV, and I would push I think Alt F8 on my Toshiba satellite, and it would switch to the TV. The monitor would switch to the TV, and so I could see what the interior of the hard drive was. What all the files and stuff like that, and there was some pretty important documentation in those files, and so it was good. But I never got a backup hard drive. And a backup hard drive is, I think it costs, what, it's about $30 for a 500 gig hard drive, external hard drive from eBay. So that was not a bad deal at all. But at that time, many years ago, I didn't know that I could do that. So um, anyway, what I did was I switched the settings on the cracked laptop, and so it wasn't like I could look on the monitor on the laptop screen and see and switch back the settings. I couldn't do that, and when I switched the settings, then it stopped it from sending the signal to the external monitor, to an external monitor like the TV or another monitor. I'm going to show you an external monitor that I have here that I bought, that my wife and I bought over at the secondhand store for like 70 bucks or something like that a few years ago. But anyway, so I didn't have a capability to hook it up to an external monitor at all. So I was stuck. What could I do? I didn't know, and so I started to look around and look, and kind of see what I could do, what I could try. And I, push this button here and turn your head slightly sideways and close one eye and all that sort of business. And none of it really seemed to work. So what I figured was that the last thing I did was this. I looked on YouTube on how to remove a hard drive, and I thought it was this really difficult thing and very hard to do, and it's very complicated, and it takes a long time and things like that. But actually, it wasn't that bad at all. I didn't, it wasn't very hard at all. And so, if you did remove the external if you did remove the hard drive from your laptop, then you could hook it up to an external case. And what this external case has a USB port, and with that USB port on that external case, then you can hook that up to a laptop that is working, and you can download the information that is in the hard drive in that external case. So what I did was I looked I looked on Toshiba satellite, and I looked at the manual on how to remove the hard drive and just make sure that I could do it correctly. And so all I had to do was just take out one screw, and then I was very, like you see, I was very careful about it. I didn't made sure not to touch any ends that might be needed to send signals to the external case, or the USB port or anything like that. So I removed that hard drive, and then I installed that into the external case. Some external cases you need some of the external cases are okay to use with a SATA, S as in Sam, A as in Apple, T as in Tom, A as in Apple, SATA hookup. But there's other ones that are an IDE hookup, and the ones that are IDE hookups, they are an older brand. So the SATA was what I thought that my computer looked needed, and so what I did was I looked on the computer looked at the specs of my laptop that was cracked to find out that it was a SATA hard drive. And then whenever I got that, then I ordered the SATA external case from China, and it cost about $5.60. So it was a heck of a lot cheaper than taking the computer to Best Buy or to some computer repair place, or to buy an external, or to buy a whole new monitor for an old computer that didn't have a very fast processor, and it was not updated at all. So it was very, very old and slow moving and things like that. So and the progression of the computer age 6 months, things get outdated and within 6 months, or quicker than that. So what I did was I hooked up the external monitor. Actually, I hooked up the hard drive to the external case, the SATA part of the external case, and then then I tried to slide that hard drive into the case, but I couldn't because there were screws on either sides of the hard drive that needed to be removed so that I would be able to slide the hard drive into the case, into the external case. And I tried to use the screwdriver that was provided to me when I did order the external case, but the screwdriver that I had, my hands are very, very large, and so I couldn't get any kind of torque or any kind of grip or any, turning ability of the screws on the sides, so they were kind of locked in. So what I had to do was I got a screwdriver from my cousin that he works over at Lockheed Martin, and it was a Swiss Army screwdriver type of thing, and that screwdriver provides a lot of torque, and so that's what I used to take out the little tiny screws from the sides of the hard drive that I had removed. And so I took those screws out, and then the hard drive slid very nicely into the case with the hookup to the SATA part of the external case. And then I had to put in these little screws because at that point I pretty much had my external hard drive, and it's only like a 32 gig or maybe a 36 gig external hard drive, because it's an old computer. That was from an old computer, so it was a very old hard drive, and that was a lot of gigs at one time, but not anymore. Now it's like one tera, or 100, or not 500 gig, or 1 tera gig, or something like that, or one terabyte. But so got those little screws in there, and then I put little screws. Actually, the external case came with little screws and a screwdriver, and so I put in those little screws, and it was quite hard. My hands are big, and so there's other people that have very, very tiny hands. A lot of people don't have hands as large, and so it's a little bit easier for them to put the screws, and screw the hard drive into the external case. But it took a little bit of doing, and it was good to have. If you saw, I had white cloth underneath, and so